What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show. But I want to go through the timeline because we are going to come back. We're going to break down the actual scene later. We're going to go through the magic bullet bullshit and all that. You also are a New Orleans kid.
Yeah.
And this case has central tenants in New Orleans. You know a lot about that. So we're gonna get through a lot today, people. But I just want to make sure you get through this. We left off at 12:50. He got there at 12:35. He was shot at 12:29. First shot. Second shot 12:30. Departs down the highway by 12:35. He's at the hospital. They triage him. They triage Governor Connolly somewhere in there, probably in with the janitor, like I said. And then 12:57. He's declared dead in the room. Now what?
Yeah, so if you jump ahead just under an hour after the president is pronounced dead, Lee Harvey Oswald is found in the theater. That was like at 1:40 p.m. So he's found in the theater watching a movie, and there's a tussle with him. He's got a weapon on him. He pulls the weapon out, and the police begin to beat his ass there in the theater seats. And, and he bears evidence of that, when you see those images of him back at the, and he makes some comment, some offhanded comment. Yeah, a police officer did this to me,
Texas cop, old school beat down there, huh?
Well, you have to understand what they were looking for him for. It wasn't necessarily, it had nothing to do with the president at that moment in time. He was alleged to have killed one of their own.
That's right.
Yeah, so he was, Officer Tibbetts. I'll make sure I got that right.
We'll look it up.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Had been shot down after he sees a guy that's fitting this suspect's description on the side of the road in this kind of residential area. And Lee Harvey Oswald, at that moment in time, produces this pistol. It was a revolver, .38 caliber revolver. And he winds up just riddling the police officer with bullets, and then he bolts after that period of time. Now, the description had gone out, and if I'm not mistaken, it was a neighbor that had witnessed this. They wind up calling in to say that you've got a police officer that's down out here. And so that's when the search starts for Lee Harvey Oswald.
And when you look at Oliver Stone's investigations of this over the years, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, he even had some sort of portrayal of this in the movie JFK from '91. But some of the guys who have worked with him as well, if I'm remembering this correctly as well, there is an argument there that because of the line of shot of the quote-unquote witnesses of who saw Oswald shoot the cop, that it may not have been Oswald doing that. We do know that they had impersonators of him. But
yeah, I've heard that as well. And I think that even goes back to the appearance of, I think people talk about the appearance of Oswald, who's supposed to be Oswald at in Mexico City, at the consulate down there. So you've had those types of things that have been running wild all of these years as well. I think in Stone's movie, if I'm not mistaken, I think he actually portrays Oswald as shooting the officer. He's got the character. It's played by Gary Oldman.
Yes.
And, there's points of view, there's perspectives on everything that you have. If you've got somebody sitting on the front porch that's doing something, maybe somebody that's looking out the window, you don't know what their accounts are going to be based upon everything from a screen in between them, a closed window, their ability to see. Are they wearing glasses or not wearing glasses? Are they drinking? There's any number of things, daylight, lighting, those sorts of things. And are they scared? If you hear gunshots, I'm being older now, I'm not going to stick my head out of the window. I'm diving for cover. I value my life too much at this point in time. But, when you're peeping over, are you seeing, what exactly are you seeing? Do you actually get a good look at this person? So, so you've got this officer that is bleeding out, that's dead in the street right there, and they're looking for this guy. Well, he's seen running into the theater. He sits down and, call goes out. They found him there, and that's when, they rush in, they grab him.
12:40.
Yeah, no, we're at 1:40 at this point in time. And so,
1:40. I'm sorry. He died at 12:57. That's right.
At 2 p.m., mark this time, that's when the argument occurs over the body in the emergency room. So the president has been pronounced dead at 12:57. Now, you would have, after the pronouncement, last rites would have been administered. There was a priest that showed up to do last rites. President's
Do we
wife.
know who that priest was?
Not off the top of my head.
You sure he was a priest? Man, I gotta ask these.
I have no idea.
Make me stop. I'm sorry. Keep going.
I don't know. Can we get the diocese on the phone and
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
have them
Keep
dig
going.
back through the records?
I can't
But
help
yeah,
myself.
I mean, you can't. No stone can remain unturned. So the priest is administering last rites. You have an opportunity for whoever in the entourage is going to take a look at the body. Now, did Jackie go in and view his body at that moment in time? Did she see his body? Did she spend time with the body at that moment in time? That's kind of a common practice and was a common practice back then. I've been in a position where when we have a complicated homicide, and again, this is very cold, we don't allow families anywhere near the body after that, even after pronouncement. We try to get the body out of the facility as soon as possible because the body is your central point of evidence at that point in time. So how much time was she allowed to spend in there? Did she spend time there with the body? So that brings us all the way up to 2 p.m. They've got the president's body on a gurney at this point in time, and they want to get the body out of the door. I think they'd already casketed the body as well in one of these transportation caskets. So that would have been acquired, and that's like it looks almost like a steel casket or almost like aircraft aluminum that these things are in. They used them for the troops for years and years. I think that they still do. So his body would have been casketed. It would have been removed from that location and taken to Love Field. Body arrives. There's an argument, and this is kind of interesting. There's an argument over the body that occurs at 2 p.m. So at 2:07, the body leaves the hospital. It arrives at Love Field at 2:38.
That's the air hangar.
Yeah, that's that, and still to this day, that's the main airport in Dallas. All right, Love Field.
What time did it arrive again, you said?
Body is, it doesn't say precisely when the body arrives, but the body is being loaded at 2:38. So this is happening quick.
31 minutes between leaving and loading.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, this would give you the impression that you have somebody that is making very specific decisions at this moment in time, that everything is being coordinated along the way. They want to get his body loaded up and get out of there immediately. Oh, and by the way, you got to get President Johnson, his entourage on there, and you also have to find this judge that's going to swear him in on the plane. And let's don't forget the First Lady. She's got to be on there with her staff. So everybody's being quickly kind of corralled and placed onto the airplane at this point in time. And they're going wheels up as soon as they can. And while they're in the air, Lee Harvey Oswald is actually going through his first interrogation. That's at 3. So he's
3 on the dot.
3 on the dot, yeah. And he has been found at 1:40. So they've hooked him up already. They've drug him out of the theater. And there's a couple of famous images that they captured of him being brought out of the theater. He's drug along. He's placed into a squad, and they escort him down to the jail at this point in time. And when 3 o'clock rolls around, they're interrogating him at that point in time. And it's also at this point in time where they do the first paraffin test on Lee Harvey Oswald. Where
The first what?
Paraffin test. This is this is a test that used to be administered using warm wax on the hands to try to lift for gunshot residue. And they actually did paraffin test on his face as well. So It's an application of warm wax. It's taken and placed on there, and any kind of particulate matter that is associated with any of the products of gunshot residue. We've got barium, antimony, and lead. That's what you're looking for. It's going to be taken, and that's going to be tested. They're going to take it off of his face. Well, why? Well, do they already know, or do they suspect, and I think that they did, that he was the shooter? Not of the officer, but he's the shooter up in the school book depository. Well, why would you do his face? Well, because he's leaning into the rifle like this.
Right.
And as he engages, you're going to have particulate gunshot residue that's going to place itself on his face at that moment in time. So that's when that first occurs. And it is claimed that that test came back positive.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.